Well, hey, I guess we're filming here. So the Christmas tree had went up in this area. I had this Moore Ocean machine with some expression pedals, a volume pedal, and a pair of expression pedals. One of them internal. Actually, you know what it was? It was this is the volume pedal going to the input, and this is the expression pedal for the device, and then this here was the volume pedal for the output. So if I looped something and then like played over that, I could kind of fade it out at the end. So I went through and set up some power supplies, and you know how that goes. Played around with this. The interesting little piece here is this is the amp that runs this Eminence cabinet here. It's where it says Natco. That cabinet there. So we have a JC, old Roland here. I paid $6.99 for that, used at a resale at a Goodwill, and cleaned it up a little bit. So then, for the other side, to have stereo, I used this. There's more information about this if you want to learn about these Class D amps. I've got a lot about that on my channel. And I'm trying to match this 120, this JC70, JC120, JC50 sound, which is really bright. So I use this Nux Amp Force pedal, which is a modeling pedal, which gave me a little additional EQ. So basically here there's, a tuner, EQ, a booster, a vibe, like a... not so much like a univibe, but more like a pulsing, like an amplitude modulation. And then the K-Line Orange Burst Overdrive. That's one of those $26. And then next to that is the Yellow Fuzz, the Czechoslovakian. That's such a great fuzz. The K-Line Overdrive is really highly recommended too. Above that is the Christine Noise Fuzz, and no, you can't have that. And then I've got here, this is an interesting thing here. It's his masking tape on it. And it's got the bad psychedelic poster paint. Looked like I was 9 when I got my first, borrowed my brother's Pink Floyd album and accidentally the blotter LSD came rolling out of it. And so yeah, on one half of this is the, what do you call it? There's a lot of wiggle movement of straps. One half of that is a silicon transistor tone bender. And then the other half on the left is the Systech Harmonic Energizer, which is just a fancy word for Frank Zappa's Parquois. Or do you say parametric EQ? And then I got the Digitech DF7. That's a modeling pedal that models 7 or 8 distortion, does all of them wrong. But I really like the MT2 setting on there. Oh, in the back, who could forget the Nevi Dever? I love the paint job on this pedal. I really like that one. And then a pair of Spaceman Effect clones. So yeah, we're setting up to do some looping here. The plan was I was gonna be recording some music. I try to do that every year in January when there isn't much else to do. And then I wasn't feeling well, so I went into feeling sorry for myself and laying around sleeping mode. And then I finished up some projects, and then last night I got going again, and then today this table was clean. So my wife is not going to be happy when she comes home from work. And here I just wanted to quickly, besides bragging and showing off everything I've got in my cool living room. My living room is really something to see at times. Okay, so here is Switchbox deal. This is I get these. Whoa! I get these from Goodwill. I try not to pay more than $2 for them, and they'll usually they'll look like that, and then I'll drill it out and add some stuff. So this one here, what I did, I took this. This is really not a very good quality video. I took this power supply here, and it is 19.95 volts. 3.33 amp. Okay, so I used a propane can and a hot knife. Hot knife coming through. We got a hot knife. Look out, hot knife. That's the hot knife. You don't want to do that with an actual nice. Get a lower quality hot knife. So yeah, you break the chassis open, wire it up to a switch. There'll be there's a fuse in it because it's AC. I like to use fuses to humor myself that I'm not going to harm anything or burn anything down. I'll put some JB weld on the bottom of this to hold it in place, and then these are the outputs. 3 outputs. Guess them if you can. Who wants to guess and win? So what I'm going to do, this is all ready to go basically. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Count them, 4 2.1 mil DC ports on the front, and a single LED with a power switch. So I think I'm going to drill another. I have to drill a hole here to put just to balance it out, and then I'll have. Do I use different color LEDs? Probably not. Use the same color LED. And then do I paint this tan lid? Do I paint that black to make it look like I'm a motorcycle guy and I'll steal your girlfriend? So yeah, basically what this is going to be, you can see I've already lovingly prepared a 16K resistor for one of the blindingly bright blue LEDs. But yeah, the idea with this, you'll plug one cable plugs in here, and then 1, 2, 3, or 4 cables will plug here to run your pedals. You hit the switch and there you go. So how that's going to work is I'll be building these guys here to go in there, or will I just use those? See, stuff like this. I got this. This is my V-Reg voltage regulator heat sinks. The cadmium sulfide light dependent resistor tray is looking very sad at the moment. But the idea is with pedals you can daisy chain a few pedals. And I'm not sure what the maximum, how this works with this wiring. Like, this is the ground, then there's one side here and another side here. So I'm guessing that, let's say it said 3.3 amps, that this will be about 1.5 amp here and about 1.5 amp here at 19 volts. So I will run a singular 7809 and split that off to 2 outputs and connect those to these 2, and then on this other side another 7809. I'm just starting off with 2, and we'll see what happens. If there's problems with it, I can always open it up and add another pair of 7809s on either side of these wires, and then so each port would have its own dedicated 7809. But really, I mean, for the most part with these things, I mean, you know, another thing that I could do, and later on I very well may do that, is go right off of one of these here unmolested and just run that out as to power an amp, as I'm known to make these small amps. So anyway, as of right now, I don't have a real lot of daisy chain connectors. You buy these cables, they're like $6, and they terminate in a dang female end, which is going to be a problem for me, of course. So I'm going to have to probably cut some of those when I get them and put male ends, or just get barrels. Just order some barrels when I buy them. But then this would be something I could slap. I could slap this down, plug a power cable into it, and then obtain clean 9.6 volts out of 4 of these ports. And each one of the ports would be somewhere around, we'll say, 1.5 amps between the 2 of them. Because these 7809 voltage regulators, that's their maximum current output is, I think it's 1.5 amp, something like that. I'm not really too concerned about it. I made another one of these a long time ago that's in a larger box, and it's got some 12 volt ports. It's got some 6 volt ports. It's got some 5 and 5.5. It's got 3.5 volt ports. And there's 4 7809 voltage regulator or 9 volt ports on it. I built that in a big candy dish, and that runs on a Hewlett Packard 19 volt 4 amp, like a printer power supply. So I mean, one thing that you can do if you're handy like me and you want to risk burning down your neighborhood and home. One of the things that you could do is don't even have the power supply internal. You build the box and you have a 2.1 mil DC jack input, so then you have an external power supply. And that's how I built the first one. This one was smaller and self-contained. The idea with this is going to be sitting, it'll sit underneath this WLTL amp, and then it'll help to power these pedals. Now, it's not to say that this is a really big mess. I have one 3-banger coming out with a chopped extension cord. That's where you take an extension cord and remove 99% of its lengths and then resolder it back together so it carries power supplies a little bit better. But yeah, that's this rig here that's running the 120 plugs in over on another outlet, and then everything else is here on this. So yeah, it's just something to do. I'm not telling you like don't buy a that one spot. Visual Sound. I hate those guys. You won't get tube tone unless you do what I'm doing here. I'm not saying that, okay? This is just, I bought a bag of 7809s in bulk. They're in here somewhere. Where are they? Trust me, I got them here. Wouldn't that be funny? I don't have them. Here they are. I got some of these. So the only fun part's going to be drilling out the. I think when you drill it out, you screw that. This mounts to the thing. You're going to want to use a non-grounding pad. I think you don't want this to ground. So I have a couple of these little rubber things, but I'll probably also be implementing some more makeshift homebrew, like this, to the type of stuff that's more prone to tend to start a fire. It's probably what's going to be implemented. So, hey, it's another project built into. We all know how much I love repurposing these little switch boxes. I really do. That's no secret. Let me see if I can find another one on my way into terminating this video. What do we got? I just had one here. Oh, this is a really nice one here. Well, there's a pair of them. Here's a 15 by 2, and then here's a. This is a Shure Electronics 60 watt amp board with nothing. It's just a power switch, input and an output. It's the AAAB31184 10 to 24 volt DC. Well, it's the TPA 3116. Supposedly one at 100 watt, but I'm calling shenanigans on that. We're going to call it a 60 watt amp. So maybe don't hold my nuts to the fire for saying that. And I know a lot of times when I bring up these amps, that's the main thing is people are like, how many watts is it? Like they really need to know about how many watts it is. Well, all of the music that's on my channel, that going back 10 plus years, there's a whole band. Mind you, it's just it's me with a drum machine and my wife and kids. But everybody's using pretty much 100 watt amp boards or 50 by 2s. That's how we do this. So if you're curious as to what it sounds like, to me it's way more power than I need. But again, there's that if you're playing with a drummer, and that to me that always, then if you're playing with a drummer, then you have a PA. So it seems to be a circular argument. I'm not here to try to talk anybody into doing anything with Class D amps. I love doing it. And today, I thought this would be a neat project to share with you guys. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. And I'm probably going to disable the comments because usually when I leave comments like this, I get all kinds of people who have spent big money on power supplies that have 33 volt European connections with inverse polarity for that one pedal that Electro-Harmonix made for 35 minutes, and they get really bent out of shape when they see something like this because it's just something I put together in an afternoon to kill some time. I'm not opening a company. I'm not going to be picking out what fishing lures to wear in my hat when I go to the NAMM show because of this, if that makes sense. All right, you guys, I love you. Good thoughts, good words, good deeds, and peace.